Sandra, the Washington Post publishing a controversial video in which experts call on white people to create, quote, white accountability groups and go through a period of, quote, deep shame. Here's what else they had to say.
Everything I thought about how I existed in my white body in the world was very wrong.
White accountability groups are really helpful in terms of having a place to process, having a group of people whose responsibility it is to call me on things or to challenge me.
Let's bring in Mollie Hemingway. She's a senior editor of the Federalist and a Fox News contributor. Mollie, what's this all about?
Yes, this video came out and many people were commenting on how racist it is. The argument put forth in the video is that certain people should feel guilt associated with their skin color. To keep that shame and guilt alive, they should have racialized buddies and accountability groups, and that friendships with people of different skin colors might be too difficult on people who are not white and so might not be a possibility. And this was met with a lot of disappointment and frustration by Americans, since Americans tend to reject such racism from prominent places. Obviously, the country has a history of such racism arising in different sectors, but for it to come from the Washington Post, I think took a lot of people aback.
Yeah, well, one of the people who was in the video is a counselor from Texas named Elise Kennedy. Let's listen to a little bit more of what she says in this video.
We're unpacking wrong things that we've been taught in history class. There's a period of deep shame for being white and for acknowledging the harm that our ancestors have caused.
All right, so she says there is a period of deep shame for being white and acknowledging the harm that our ancestors have caused. Clearly, America has a troubled history, but what would be the purpose of people who are living today to feel deep shame for something that happened decades, even centuries ago?
Well, racism throughout history is usually about people trying to exploit differences in order to achieve political power. And in recent decades, the left has been able to use racism as a way to advance political aims, accusing other people of racism. And I think that's probably what's happening here as the Washington Post becomes more and more politicized and more open about its political agenda. They are playing into that. The problem is that a lot of Americans of whatever color, creed, just reject this type of racism. And it happens at a time when more and more people are aware of just what a great country this is for people, regardless of whether you're looking at that socially or economically. Yes, of course, there are problems and those need to be dealt with, but particularly prior to the global pandemic, this was a time of great economic opportunity for Black people, Black men, Black women, Hispanic men and women, and people know that. And so I think they look at this as the attempt to divide that it really is.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. Is this another effort at dividing the country along racial lines under the guise of trying to unify it? I mean, does this exercise that they're suggesting even attempt to unify? Because it only seems to want to divide.
Well, again, just like with old racism, new racism doesn't want to unite, doesn't want to bring people together. And that is a very dangerous thing. I think people might be thinking this is just something that achieves short-term political gain. First off, I'd say I actually think there might be a very big pushback to this kind of racism. But they should also think about the long-term ramifications of dividing people. This country is unique in having so many different people from so many different countries. That's a good thing. And people with positions of authority, such as the Washington Post, should be encouraging that, not trying to tear people away from each other or foment strife between different skin colors.
One thing I'm curious about is why so much among this woke group is there a focus on the past? Winston Churchill, paraphrasing Santa Anna, once said, quote, "Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it." There are likely some people who have failed to learn from our history, but the nation as a whole seems to have learned a whole lot.
Absolutely. You do want to know your history. You do want to know what you have worked through, what you did wrong as a country or as people did throughout history. But you don't want to do it at the expense of opportunity. And when you teach people that by virtue of their skin color, they will always be oppressed or they'll always be an oppressor, it's just inappropriate. And it also does so much to damage the future. In this country, people can achieve all sorts of things. That's why people come from all over the world to be here. And by focusing with a frankly inaccurate blanket look at the past, and many times, and not thinking at all about the present or the future, it can cause problems.
Mollie, thank you for your perspective on this. Appreciate it.